Still think the UN has any credibility? Watch this. This is the UN Special Rapporteur for Palestine. Her name is Francesca Albanese. She wrote this on X a few days ago when the Israel Defense Forces rescued those hostages from inside Gaza. She writes, relieved that 4 hostages have been released. They weren't released, Francesca. They were rescued in a highly complex operation that cost the life of the man who led the operation. He leaves behind a wife and 2 small children. She goes, it should not have come at the expense of at least 200 Palestinians, including children, killed and over 400 injured by Israel. And Francesca, they should not have been held hostage in the first place. And your job in the United Nations should be to fight for them to be released. Israel should not have to send its people into a civilian area, into civilian apartments to get their hostages. Are you kidding? They're risking the lives of their soldiers, of the hostages themselves. Now, we also don't know how many people were really killed in that. You can't have numbers so accurate after something like that. What happened was that the entire neighborhood, when they saw that the hostages were being rescued, they all opened fire. The whole thing lit up. There were machine guns and grenade launchers. The car that they were supposed to get away in was damaged. They had to it became a big firefight. The so-called Palestinian civilians were opening fire trying to prevent these hostages from being rescued. And you are bashing Israel? Where is your morality? Are you literally a mouthpiece for Hamas? She goes on, something about Israel shouldn't have been perfidiously hiding in an aid truck. The hostages shouldn't have been perfidiously held in apartments in Gaza. The people who were holding the 3 young men, the one was an Al Jazeera reporter. His father was a doctor. These were not designated Hamas fighters. They're Palestinian civilians. The people who were holding the young woman, Noah Argamani, it was a family. Are you condemning them? Are you saying anything about that? And the fact that an Al Jazeera reporter was holding innocent hostages, are you... This is the United Nations. They are corrupt to the core. She goes on, Israel has used hostages to legitimize killing, injuring, maiming, starving, and traumatizing Palestinians in Gaza. Israel has used hostages as an excuse to do this. Like Israel really wants to be in Gaza, really wants to fight. Are you sick? What? It is literally nothing more than a blood libel. It is accusing people of doing something horrendous. It's generally around killing women and children. There's a term for it. It's called the killing of the innocents. And there's a purpose. You do it to delegitimize them. You do it to dehumanize them, to make it okay to attack them. She's literally one of the terrorists. She's acting like the mouthpiece of Hamas. Let's get it clear. Israel wants nothing to do with Gaza. I am here. I am right here in Israel. I know the sentiment of the country. We do not want our young men going into that rat's nest and getting killed. We certainly don't want to be harming any innocent Palestinians. It's awful for Israel. We have an economy to run. We have businesses to take care of. We have families to take care of. The last thing we want is our young men in that sniper's nest. Injuring, killing, maiming, no. If anyone was killed in that operation, it's because they opened fire on the soldiers and the hostages who were trying to rescue the hostages. What do you expect them to do? Just leave the hostages there or just get killed and not fight back? This is the UN. It is not a credible body. It is thoroughly corrupt. She goes on mentioning starving Palestinians. Let's get these facts straight. The number of calories per person that has been shipped into Gaza is about 3,000 calories per person. There is an enormous amount of food going into Gaza. We've seen Hamas steal this food, and Francesca knows this. They steal it and resell it in the markets at exorbitant prices. They've made millions of dollars, some of the estimates saying the hundreds of millions of dollars, selling aid to their own people. That is how rotten Hamas is. And they obviously feed their own soldiers. She knows this. The video's all over YouTube. You can see it. The gunmen on top of the trucks, and I've personally posted video of UN aid boxes, food aid boxes in the markets. You can see the white boxes with the blue tape, and it's all being sold. She knows that. Israel is making an exceptional effort to isolate Hamas, to separate the Palestinian population, to make sure that they are harmed as little as possible. First of all, because we don't want to harm them. And secondly, because it harms Israel if Palestinian civilians get hurt. This is Hamas's strategy. It's called tactical civilian sacrifice. We have to deny them that strategy. Sinwar admitted this. It was all in the Wall Street Journal the other day. Sinwar admitted that the more Palestinians get killed, the more pressure there is on Israel. They've built no bomb shelters. They planned this attack, the October 7th attack, for nearly 20 years. They built tunnels the length of the New York subway, and they've built no bomb shelters for the Palestinian civilians. Why do you think that is? You think they might have intended for the carnage to happen so that it could bring pressure onto Israel and cause Israel to to be isolated from its friends? That's exactly why they do it. Francesca, you know this. Everything you've said over here is completely dishonest and immoral, and it gets worse. She goes on, Israel could have freed all hostages alive and intact 8 months ago when the first ceasefire and hostage exchange was put on the table. No, we were devastated when that hostage deal fell through and Hamas broke the ceasefire. The entire country was waiting with bated breath, hoping to get our people back. She goes on, yet Israel refused in order to continue to destroy Gaza and the Palestinians as a people. She knows it's not true. It's been 8 months of war, nearly 9. If Israel really wanted to destroy the Palestinian people, honestly, it could have been done very quickly. The Israeli military, if they really unleashed, it would not take 8 or 9 months. It would take less than 8 days. There is an extreme effort to preserve human life. And the head of the urban warfare school at West Point Academy, the main military academy in the United States, has been to Gaza twice and has categorically said that no army in history has done more to preserve human life than what Israel is doing right now. We've seen soldiers taking incubators into hospitals to take the babies out because Hamas has their headquarters in the hospital. We found one of our hostages killed in the hospital, in a basement, in a tunnel under the hospital. They've got weapons they shoot from within the hospital. And you see these insane pictures of soldiers, Israeli soldiers, taking incubators into hospitals. It's never happened before. So she knows all of this. She's using truth as a weapon. She's manipulating truth to bend public opinion. It doesn't matter what Israel does. Israel could be perfect in every way. In her mind, she will always find a way to demonize it. This is just complete lies. Literally, you should not be in this position. You should be fired. You are thoroughly not just biased, but dishonest. She goes on, this is genocidal intent turned into action, crystal clear. Well, what's crystal clear, Francesca, is that you are a thoroughly dishonest actor. You should not be employed in this position. And in fact, this really highlights the corruption within the United Nations as a whole. There is no reason for the United Nations to exist as it currently is. It is overrun by dictatorial regimes. You've got people like North Korea having a say in world affairs. Iran recently chaired a council on rights for women after the Masa Amini murder and the riots and young girls who were poisoned for having stood against the government. Iran got a position as a Human Rights Council chair. Syria has a say in world affairs. The UN it's not just useless, it is dangerous. And it is about time that Western countries stand up to it and shut it down. It serves no purpose other than to put innocent people in danger. If Francesca Albanese really wanted to help the Palestinian people, she would pressure Hamas to release the hostages and surrender. Then she would ensure that UNRWA stops its brainwashing, because it's doing practically nothing else. It trains children to become terrorists. It leaves them with a future that is completely empty of any opportunity. They can do nothing but become jihadist killers. And a lot of the October 7th attackers were UNRWA students. The head of Hamas in Qatar is an ex-UNRWA graduate. If you really wanted to help the Palestinian people, help them become a normal functioning society, you would do that. You don't care about the Palestinians, as strange as that may sound. You have no interest whatsoever in helping the Palestinians. You are just a deep, rabid anti-Semite, and you use this position to attack Israel. You are effectively one of the terrorists. And the irony is that your home country, Italy, is being swamped with jihadists right now. You are experiencing a level of threat from jihadist attacks that you have never in your history known, and they would throw you to the wolves as quickly as anyone else. You are an infidel as well. Shut down the UN, disband it completely, and start again.